What's going on, y'all? It is Thursday at 7 p.m. Central. Thursday night on the eve of a packed weekend of pulling. We have Zillwood, Florida going on this weekend, Friday and Saturday night, as well as the Southern Invitational. And our guest tonight is actually one of the players that's going to be at the Southern Invitational, Mr. Tony Weber in the 50 Shades of Red Hot Farm Tractor. Mr. Tony, how are you?
Doing good tonight. Thank you.
Wyatt, Charles, I like to call this the calm before the storm. It's one last tuning session for some guys. Some guys are having fun down in Florida for the winter. It's getting down to the farm show time.
Yeah, we're right on the doorstep of it. We're gonna blink and it's gonna be here.
I'm very, very excited about it. We did go with hot farms this week. We were asked at Shipshewana, Charles and I, as we were leaving on Saturday night. I think we were approached to ask if we would do these, and we said perfect. So took a lot of time. There are hot farms really everywhere. But
we started with 56 of them at Shipshewana, so
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot.
yeah, there are. And I mean, the thing is, that's probably not even half of them.
It's probably not half of them. You're right.
Yeah. And as we mentioned, everyone, this week is the 510 466, so everybody is considered for that.
Yeah,
On that front, it's not separated in any shape or form. We use Shipshewana rules. I will go ahead and say for me, especially Shipshewana played a huge role in how everything stacked up for me. But then after that, it's kind of really the points and how everybody finished and how many hooks they had this summer.
yeah, definitely a muddled middle. So we were talking offline before we got on. You know, there's only 10 lines that we can put in a top 10, and I managed to cheat and squeeze in a couple extra, but like we said, you got 80 tractors, 90 tractors, 100 tractors nationwide that could have a deserving spot, and you got to try and take it down to 10. It's tough.
Yeah. And I know another thing, whenever we really first started doing this, we really looked for the crossover, especially when it came to the mini rods and pro stocks, whenever they run against each other at Bowling Green, especially. Shipshewana is the crossover for this.
Yeah.
Because of the different rules and everything. So hopefully everything shakes out based on what a couple of other people I talked to today that ran this class in the past. I was kind of talking to them about my list. They were pretty much on board with it. But before we get into that, why don't we get to know Mr. Tony a little bit? Because Mr. Tony, I know you very well. You've been around us a lot in the last couple of years. So just kind of tell everyone about yourself and about your tractor.
Well, like I say, my name is Tony Weber. I've been in business with Weber Tractor Service for 28 years. I started out working for Case IH out of college as a mechanic and got laid off after 6 years because the company got slow. So I got laid off. So I started my own business 28 years ago. And from there, working on IH tractors only. That's all I know. All I want to know, all I got time for, to work on. So to go along with that, we started a salvage business also. And we sold a lot of, back in the late 90s through 2000s, we used to sell a lot of parts back to the tractor puller people. And that's how I got acquainted with a lot of the guys that I actually do work for and have a relationship with now. Started out with Carl Smith back in the mid 90s. And worked with him all the way up till he sold it in 2005. He sold that tractor to Stuart Mays, and Stuart just wanted the turbo off of it and the fuel system, and then Clint Tucker bought it, and Clint parted it out from there. So I'm not sure where nothing went from there. So what are you looking at?
I did not know that, but if Clint's watching, I'm probably going to get a text any minute.
I hope so.
Yeah, that's been back in the mid 2000s. And then I'm not exactly 100% sure what he did, what went on from there, but I know that he got a big portion of it, I'm pretty sure. And the short block was bad. We knew that, and they locked it up. And anyway, that's the reason it got sold. And Carl, got out, and he had a long, good career and helped Tim Kane. I do a lot of work with Tim Kane. They do their own work, but when they need an extra hand, I jump in and help them. Tim used to buy a lot of blocks off of me before the billet block came out, and so as time went on, my tractor was actually broke about in 2018 into 19. So then that's when your brother Darren asked me to jump on board with you guys. And I said, well, I can't afford to run around, everywhere. And he said, well, where's the nearest airport? And they picked me up with their airplane, took me to Ryan's. First time I met Ryan, and stayed up there and worked with them guys with the program and worked with them through the 2019 all the way to the championship. So, and now that obviously Darren sold his tractor and I'm out a job, I call it, I got more time for my own. So we're going to get this thing back out and going. And we had a respectable run at Shipshewana. I was 14th out of 17, but I was only 14 feet behind the winner is what I call it, So it wasn't too bad for the first time in a seat for a couple of years. So we're looking forward to running again here. We're going to go to Murfreesboro tomorrow.
Yeah, I will be seeing you there. I will be trying to post some video, and if I can stand on one leg and balance just right, I might be able to get enough cell signal in that building to go live and hopefully show off a little bit of the equipment that's going to be there. It's going to be a stacked little weekend there, and I'm excited.
Yeah. But hopefully, for what I've learned, I can through the period of working with a lot of good people, and there's so many people behind the scenes, that you learn from, and you take notes and you listen to, and hopefully I can apply that to my own tractor. And the first tractor I built, I promoted a pull a few years back, and I put a tractor on the track that we actually built out of the salvage parts I have on the shelf. It was stock salvage parts. I welded the gears together just so I could go down the track. But I thought if I promote a pull, I need to put a tractor on the track with our name on it. And that was for the Dale Lowe Memorial Pull that we started back in 2017. And it was a hot farm. And I actually got that tractor sold, and we're going to put it back on the track this year. I got it sold to a guy, and along with mine and his, we'll be running two of them.
That's awesome. Yep. There's one more connection too on the pulling side of things with your daughter, Miss Tori, and Brandon Phillips being married together. You were kind of telling us that story beforehand. That's a pretty cool story.
Yeah. Brandon and Tori, two peas in a pod, they met when they were 10 years old. And Larry did not know me, and I did not know them, just knew the name. And he called me for a crankshaft. And I had one, and we went to Georgetown, Ohio to a tractor pull and met them there. And of course, Tori went with me everywhere. And again, she was only 10 years old, but she went to tractor pulls with me everywhere. And of course, Brandon went with Larry, and he was about 10 years old. And when we got there, we done our business and got the parts to him. And so the kids were over there kicking the dirt and throwing rocks at each other at 10 years old. And then, of course, as times went on and social media, they kept in contact, and tractor pulls and Louisville and places we go and same places they go. So over the period of the years, they, took a liking to each other and fell in love and got married.
They did. Got a comment from Mr. Adam Mays. Y'all going to be in Murfreesboro this weekend with USA Pullers. I will be there. I'm not sure if I'm going to be there both nights yet, but I will be there at least Saturday. I will be videoing as much as I can beforehand and all that fun stuff. Wyatt, Charles, we can stay here and tell stories all night long, and it will be probably more entertaining than anything we will put together. But we've got hot farms to rank.
Yes, we do.
And I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, there's a lot. I know my honorable mentions alone is almost as long as the top 10.
Yeah.
It goes on.
So I'm first out of the chute, right?
Yeah, that's at your request.
Yeah. So for my honorable mentions, I went with the Blue Tornado. He put on a really good show at Shipshewana, a blue tractor, another variety in there. The Rexing pulling team, they run very strong whenever they're there. They just have a lot of drivers, and you never know who's going to be in the seat, so it kind of makes it difficult for that consistency. I went to Mayhem out of the United Pullers of Minnesota. He ended up second. And then I've got to tip my hat off to one of – he's a newcomer to the hot farm. He's not a newcomer to pulling by any means, but Mr. Bug out of Fredonia, Kentucky with horseplay. I think that hook in Shipshewana was maybe his third or fourth time in that 95 hot farm class. He got sixth, and he needed to get fourth. So I look for big things out of him this coming year as he gets the learning curve underneath his belt. And then Mr. Tony's 50 Shades of Red, whenever he gets it dialed in, it will be a hoss. Wyatt, what you got?
Appreciate that. We're working on it.
With the limited amount of time I had this week, I kind of didn't have as much stats on these guys as I wanted to. I tried to put as many on here as I could, knowing I didn't have the stats as I did, but just going off a gut feeling. I went with, first off, I'm Hooked, the Vern Meinholz, the Bartelt family from up in Wisconsin. Undertaker, the Coles family they won Minnesota points, I believe. Giesler, Blue Tornado, Mayhem of Schambauer, and the Rexing Tractors, like you said.
Yeah.
Yep. Some of the same stuff. I had Giesler and Rexing on there. Some other names that I threw in on the honorable mention list. Had to include the Meyer and Worth team, the Double Trouble, Badger State runner-up, Alan Daly, the no-name deer. He was the Hoosier State champ. Russ Clark, Custom Harvester, Lance Mertens, Legal Addiction, David Weirach, Vernon Benjamins. And it'd be remiss if I didn't mention Mr. Joe Adair and Claude Buster, the IPL South runner-up, who unfortunately we lost last fall. So those are the honorable mentions for me.
Yeah. Darn it. I can't believe I forgot the Claude Buster. Shame on me for that one. Who would you say was a Hoosier State? Which one was that for you?
Alan Daly, no name deer. He was also a winner in Region 2, I think, at least once.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. That's another reason why I really wanted to get Mr. Tony on here, too. It seems like he knows everybody that has anything to do with bowling. He's like an encyclopedia.
Perfect. You can tell us when we're wrong or stupid or whatever with these picks.
Sounds good so far, but I got a few. If you want me to chime in,
Yeah, do. Please do.
The one that really gets me, and they do all their own work, and they got a kind of a welding fab shop, and I got to take my hats off to them. Is Michael Peters, that runs the Hoosier Hooker. They won up at Shipshewana they were second on the preliminary and won the next night. So Michael, they work hard at it, and they got a pretty good program. They do most of it themselves, and then of course Mike Robbins, with the fire in the hole, he's right there in the top three.
Yeah.
Scott Miller runs good up there. Scott's always looking good. That Brant Schrader, the addiction tractor, the John Deere addiction tractor, he's strong in our class. What I've seen. Of course, the Rexing tractors, they're always up there. I don't know, but he looked awful good. I don't know that one guy with the Double Trouble, but he was a second up there, and they were strong. And I understood that to just be a 466. Is that right?
Yeah, it is.
Still is. Yeah, it runs Badger State Hot Farms, Meyer family.
The 466 Badger State in Wisconsin, Mr. Tony, they can have intercoolers on theirs.
Oh, they can. Okay, I did not know that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's why I really pulled up and looked at Shipshewana, because crossover is our biggest look at for me.
Yep. Do agree.
All right, pull it up. Let's get to going.
All righty. Here we go.
All right. My number 10, that's where I had Fire in the Hole. Came in fourth in Shipshewana, probably a little low. But like we said before, not being able to find PPL results and standings and breakdowns really killed us, because I know he favors that circuit, and I think he had a little trouble this summer a couple of times, but other than that, he's consistent.
Not a bad one in there. This is probably going to be maybe the most off the wall one that we're going to have out of all of them. But at number 10, I had to go with just one more of Everett Wilkerson. He's a crewman for Mike Beck on High Tech Redneck. The reason he's on this list is at the tail end of the Region 2 season, he had 4 hooks in a row. He finished number 2, number 1, number 1, number 1. That's some strength.
Yeah.
For sure.
I assume it's red.
Yes, it is 806.
Okay.
Yeah, from videos I saw, it seems to be very strong. I went with the same thing with Shane, crazy as it is. I went with Fire in the Hole. If you go off of 2021, I think this is a different list. From what I found, he didn't have as great a year as 2021. But he still is very, very solid. Won a hook at Shipshewana, so he's up there in that top 10.
Yeah, that's going to send us right into the number 9, and that's where I had Cornfield Cadillac. Second in the Indiana Pulling League North, and he ran really strong down in Florida this weekend. I would probably, if I had to redo it again, this is one that I would probably go a little bit higher with. But Indiana Pulling League, they have 2 separate regions, North and South. So that was something to look at, and then how many of them crossed over together really helped out too.
Number 9 is one that Mr. Weber's already mentioned, actually. Scott Miller and Dragline Express. He really, when I first started watching this tractor, he was a light pro of Central Ohio, and when the 510s took off, he kind of took a step back, put the smaller tires on, and man, did this tractor really come into his own. Was a winner in Region 2, and I think he had some wins with Dark County tractor pullers and possibly with Central Ohio. Did a little bit of traveling. Good, strong tractor. Had a heck of a showing in his flight in Shipshewana. I'm pretty impressed.
Yeah, he did.
Yep. My number 9, I went with kind of a local guy here. I went with the Meyer family Double Trouble. He didn't have his many wins in the past. He had one win on the Badger State season. He was runner up in points. Solid showing, just didn't have as many wins as he does usually.
Yeah. So now the Meyer that runs Double Trouble is the same family that runs the Limited Pro, right? They're related in some way.
Right. It's all, I don't know the exact relation, but at least there's some cousins and brothers in there because they have Double Trouble, which is the 88 series, 466 Express, which is I believe 1466. And then you have the Meyer Performance 4-1.
If anybody can share a little insight on that, that'd be great. And we're already starting off pretty hot. A lot of my people that are in this list for me, I can see a lot of the Badger City guys for the first time at Shipshewana, and they're no joke. I found that out pretty quick. And one that really caught my attention, especially in the 9,000 Super Farm, which was the 85 Limited Pro and Hot Farm combo, was Ageless. He was your 9 pullers at the Minnesota champion. He had 6 wins up there, 466 cubic inches up there in the pullers of Minnesotas as well.
Is that your number 8?
8, yeah.
Fair enough. As you said, and probably exactly, we had the same thought process here. At number 8, that's where I landed, Cornfield Cadillac. Had a runner-up, I believe, in points with the IPL North Circuit. Back a couple of years ago, that tractor had won with IPL in this class. Strong runner.
It did.
Yeah, you can copy that over for all the same reasons. From what I've seen, strong showing. Like you said, runner-up. It solid wherever he goes.
Yep. Wow.
Oh,
so we're already up to number 8.
Answer your question here.
Is it Mike and John Jr. are brothers, I believe? Okay.
Let me move you up out of that bottom corner. I'll hide myself. You dig a little.
Yeah. So we're already up to number 8, and we've already done it twice. We've already repeated each other twice. So
it seems to go that way.
Yeah, it does. So for my number 7, I have Addiction. your Indiana Pulling League South champion.
Don't hate it.
Don't hate it. Don't hate
I
it.
love the look of that tractor, though.
It's got a unique look.
And I'm not a green guy. That's the thing.
Yeah, it is a pretty sweet looking tractor.
Yeah.
I cheated at number 7 here because it's a team that does pretty well. I put both the tractors together, and that's the Lufboros with Just Fueling Around and Still Fueling Around. Just Fueling Around was the Badger State champ this year, and they're quality team, well turned out tractors, beautiful equipment, and they run hard.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie, I feel like that's a little low.
Could be.
Just
Maybe
purely
some
off
geography bias going on there. Might be some geography bias going on there, just because I don't see them that often.
right. Number 7 for me, I went with a little. This might sound a little odd to you guys. When a guy out of Pennsylvania that runs FPP and PPP, Brian McConnell and Milkman's Mojo.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Oh.
I know that tractor very well. It's one of the tractors we built or helped build, and he won 3 titles this year in 3 different associations: FPP, PPP, and Southwest Pennsylvania, and just runs strong out there. He didn't cross over very much like he has in the past, but it still runs really good.
Yeah, I don't hate that one at all. You're right. I don't have it in my top 10, but it's probably one that deserves to be there.
Yep, I totally agree. I kind of forgot to look up there, honestly. So number 6 for me, that's where I had Buckshot Reloaded. He was your IPL North champion. And just the couple of times I've seen that thing run in person, it's a strong tractor. Love the look on it, too, with the yellow rims.
Well, we did it again. I took one of yours and moved it up one. I put an Addiction here at the number 6 spot. As we said, IPL South champ. Neat looking tractor with a patina on it. Us doing that, I fear, is going to be a theme as this list continues to unravel.
Yeah.
Possibly.
I like this, though. It's kind of making me feel a little bit better because we're not all over the map.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt kind of like a shot in the dark going into this because the amount of time I had this week, I didn't feel like I was going to put on a great list, but this actually surprised me a lot more.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, this class really is, it's a complete, just a shot in the dark for me, too. We do not have 9,500-pound hot farm on Mid-South or USA pullers, either one, around here at all. So whenever I go to Shipshewana or somewhere that does have them, I do pay attention because it's the only time I get to see them.
Yeah.
But, that just, I don't know. It's different. I wish we could hear a little more.
I'd like to see it catch on in Michigan. There's a couple in the state down in the southwest corner, but I'd like to see more of them here. And any chance I spend a lot of time lately in the last couple of years in Indiana, so any chance I get to catch them, I try to go see them.
Right.
Up here, they seem to have a really good showing every week. I was looking at some Badger State results, and it seemed like they averaged about 14 a hook. So, it's good numbers up here. So,
yeah.
But up there more around, United Pullers in Minnesota, they're 466. And then Badger State's 466. It seems like IPL and NTPA are mainly the 510 ones.
Yeah. Yep.
Go ahead, Wyatt.
I was going to say the line, once you get to about Illinois or Indiana, it's when it crosses over when you get to 510s, when you see all the NTPA stuff.
Yeah, I've got a question here. What area does USA Pullers cover? It's really down here in the southern region, mainly in Tennessee and the western part of Kentucky. Basically, wherever Mid-South isn't, that's pretty much where they are. And they're a great association to run with. I run with them on occasion whenever they're close. So it's a great group, great club to run with.
Yep.
Battle of the Bluegrass picked up the 9,500s also.
They did. You're right.
Yes. Down in Kentucky, they can run all the way across Kentucky from the east to the west and pick up about 20 hooks. They picked him up last year.
Yep, I forgot about that.
Yep.
But it's pretty much all the same people that run that one, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's another thing about hot farms. If you tell the hot farm guys there's a hook, if you tell one, you just told 20.
When you cross
And
the
they all-
border, when you cross the border in Kentucky, you got to watch the word hot farm versus we are down there light limited pro stock
Yeah.
because the hot
Really?
farm down there is a 3,000 RPM limit.
Yeah, because that's the 10,000. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So you got to watch that because I made a mistake and hauled mine down there thinking I was going to get to run, and I ended up running for expedition. So because of the word hot farm versus,
versus
Yeah.
Pro Farm.
I think that was kind of brewing around on pull off. I think some.
Yeah, John. Somebody asking John Murray was cleaning up that mess and explaining it.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to get on there and type like, we don't have 95 hot farms, so we didn't have a reason to confuse it with anything else at the time.
Right.
Yeah, regions do stuff like that. We got a class up here in the thumb that we call pro stock. Well, it's a 18,438 tire, 8,000 pound, 3,500 RPM limit class. It's not pro stock like you think it is.
Yeah, and compared to like where Shane you live, you call 10,000. Up here, it's called 9,500. So it's the same weight, but it's limited RPM where it's similar.
And it's just Schwana, they run both the 9,500 Pro Farm and 10,000 Pro Farm too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
not sure. Look for sanctions that run 2.6 in the general vicinity. Yeah, Mr. Butler, I think they do run. It's either 2.6 or 3.0, but they're not. I don't think they'll turn you down if you come down and run a hook or two with them.
Right.
All right, Wyatt, we were on your number 6 a long time ago, and I got on a tangent again.
Well, my number 6, I went a little different direction. I went with Dragline Express, Scotty Miller. Good showing all around. He also likes to cross over and go Bowling Green and run with us in Super Farm, which I respect a lot. Yeah, like Charles, you said, he used to be like a 4 or 5'10" light pro and then put the smaller tires back on. He just does really well.
He does. I kind of feel weird now that you two both mentioned him. He just slipped off of mine, I guess. But cracking my top 5 is one that's already been mentioned. That's going to be Double Trouble. He was second in the Badger State points, like you said earlier.
For my first entry inside the top 5, I cheated again. It's a team, 2 tractors. They drive by committee. It's a family, father, and I believe 2 sons. I put in the bomber team, Daddy's Money, and I got this.
I've had a ride or two at Shipshawana, I think.
Yeah, they did pretty well. They traveled a bunch. I found them turning up in result sheets, and I think like Hoosier State, Dark County Tractor Pullers, Region 2. I think I found them down in on the Bob sheets. I mean, they were everywhere.
Where did you find the Battle of Bluegrass sheets?
On Battle of the Bluegrass website.
Oh, so it's back up.
Yes.
Great. I didn't think it was.
Colton's tractor was on fire the first part of the year. He won like 5 of them.
Yeah.
Down at Battle of Bluegrass.
Yeah. How many do they typically have turn up on the Battle of the Bluegrass side of things?
10 to 12.
Okay. It's not bad.
All right, that leaves me my number 5. I went with Buckshot Reloaded. Good showing from what I've seen. Like I said before, I kind of plead ignorance with this, and he impresses me. That's why I land my number 5.
Hey, he was my number 6. Yep. So everyone, another reminder too on the pulls we have going on this weekend. Zellwood, Florida, tomorrow night and Saturday, as well as a Southern Invitational in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. So if you're in the area and you want to see some tractor pulling before a farm show, a final test session for a lot of guys and everything, come on out. It'll be a fun time.
Are they doing any live stream from Murfreesboro at all?
No, because that building, I mean, I'm really got to stand on one leg and like try to climb on top of a post or something to get enough service to even attempt to go live in there.
I gotcha. Oh boy, that's some work. That is some work.
Yoza.
Whoa.
I knew it was a bunch.
And they just went to Florida.
Yeah, I mean,
I think
like
they
I
won.
said, I mean, they were all over sheets everywhere. Every organization I pulled up, I'm like, oh, they were there.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
knew it was a bunch.
I think they won Ocala both nights in some shape or form.
Who's that?
Bomber.
Travis won.
Travis did.
Travis won both nights down at Ocala, and then Bomer was second and a third.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like
Awesome. So, Mr. Tony, over the years, what have been some of your favorite moments? I mean, you talk about the people that you've crewed for with Mr. Smith and the Canes, us. What have been some of your favorite moments to see, not just with them, but other pools as well?
That's a tough one. I mean, there's been a lot of good ones. There's just been a lot of good ones. Of course, the highlight was when we won the championship with your brother in 19. Because we were down, we broke that afternoon. We broke the tractor at Sandwich on the water pump, injection pump, and he come down the track with no injection water, and that put him behind. And then Brandon, your other brother, had a water pump. We changed the water pump in the middle of the afternoon and right back on the track that night and come back and won. So that was most impressive that I've had for a while.
Yeah.
So, of course, Carl back in that day. I tell you what I enjoyed more than anything before your time was I got thinking about this, talking about Carl. I even ran with Dale Lowe back in the day for the Fool's Gold and coming on strong. He had a pro stock called Fool's Gold. And a lot of fun was we used to have a tractor pull at Purdue University called the Purdue Boilermaker Pull.
Mm-hmm.
And it was Hoosier State Pull. And Masterson's was up there, and Dale Lowe had two of them. Carl bought Bill Voorhees' tractor when it was first built. Bill ran that 1 year, and then Carl bought it. But Carl had the Master Blaster before he got the Night Moves tractor. So a lot of good times, a lot of good people. There's just I can't pick out one. Me and your brother had pretty special times the whole year. That was a lot of fun. Of course, Tim Kaine winning the championship in 2009. That was a big highlight for them, and he deserved it. He eats and sleeps this stuff every day, and there's no one more deserving than Tim Kaine getting the championship back in that 2009. So that was pretty special. So other than that, selling my ticket to my fiance now was one of my highlights in 2014. Went down there with one ticket on a Saturday night ticket, and I sold it to her, and we've been together ever since. So
good grief.
That's the most special because she's on my side on this tractor pull and stuff, and enjoys it the same as I do. So
that is definitely hard to find.
The other big one I really, really liked, and he deserved it and deserves a lot, is when we were at Brandon and we were sitting in the booth down at Louisville when Larry was in the pull-off with Bryce Terry.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
And Larry come back and won that on a pull-off on the alcohol class. That's been about 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, it hadn't been that long. I think it was in.
Yeah. It's before the virus. It must have been in 18 or 19. Well, 18 or 19.
Yeah.
That we was all up in the booth.
Yeah, I think 18 and 19. I think that's never high strung was on an absolute tear.
Yeah.
That year.
Yeah, Larry. They was in a pull off, and Larry come back and won it. So that was a. Oh, another thing, real quick. Carl, we were lined up at Louisville, 1998. I think it's 96 or 98. And he backed up to the sled, and his tie rod fell off on the front axle. The outside tie rod fell off, just fell off.
Oh.
And told him about it, and he said, "Don't worry about it. The tires won't be on the ground anyway." And he pulled that thing and went down and set it straight on top of the sand pile. Didn't he? Then he was right. They didn't even touch the ground. So he
He's not the
steered
only
that
one
down.
to do that in there.
Yep.
It was like 99, I think. Bill Voorhees did, or 2000. Bill Voorhees did it with the mod. He got in a pull off and broke the right front tire right off. He said, "I don't care. I'll just stand it up."
There you go. Yeah. A lot of good times.
Yeah. You want to talk about the year that Darren won the Pro Stock Championship? I think my favorite pass that I've gone back and watched on the internet time and time again was that pass at Canton, Ohio. I don't think anything was going to stop that tractor that night.
Canton, Ohio.
Yeah, I think that was one of the first ones you went with him to.
Top three, was real good.
Yeah. All right. I guess I've got top four.
I don't know if it's exactly the first one.
Uh-oh.
And we were doing so good.
I know. Daggone it. Well, he's still moving. Mr. Tony, you still here?
Yeah.
Okay, good deal. All right, let's crack this top four before we lose him completely. So my number 4, I went with Just Fueling Around, Badger State points champion. First time getting to see the Loughborough team run it all was in Shipshewana Wednesday night test passes, and I was really impressed getting to see them run. They were kind of on my bucket list to watch run that weekend.
Don't hate it. Well, the trend continues. One you mentioned already. I've come back with it. Buckshot Reloaded, IPL North champ. Just a strong running tractor, good quality piece, consistent. Could be higher, but there's also many behind him deserving to be higher too. So,
yeah.
Number 4 for me, I actually, before the show, added these guys too. So I'm going to have 2 guys in this spot, so put a slash.
sure.
I had Brian Carrington in the Endless, and then I had the Bomber team.
Endless. He will be at the Southern Invitational this weekend.
Yeah. He was actually supposed to be on the show with us tonight, but he is traveling tonight.
Now, what can I tell that?
Yeah, he committed, and then he got hold of me yesterday. He's like, so sorry. I said, that's all right. We'll get you on another time. So
I will make sure I give him heck this weekend. I will see him Saturday. That brings me to our top 3. And that's where I had Endless too. He's a Region 2 points champion, Hoosier State champ, I think Battle of Bluegrass champion.
Yes.
6 wins and well, no, hang on. That's not right. 2 wins and 6 top 5s on the Region 2 side of things.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we know what shop that comes out of.
My number 3, I went into the PPL Midwest region. I've seen this tractor run a bunch of times, and it's always right in the thick of it. Matt Werner, the Raging Buck.
Okay. I didn't know where you were going there.
Yeah, Matt's pretty strong.
Yeah, that tractor has made a trip. Was it in Cloverdale that it ran on top of the sand pile, or is that like the first year in Shipshewana?
No, Cloverdale.
All right, that leads me into my number 3, and that is where I put the Loughborough family in the Just Fueling Around. Like I said, they won the Badger State title. I see them a little more, and they won a bunch. And if one tractor doesn't do as good, they'll learn from it, and they'll put it on the next tractor. And they're pretty much carbon copies of each other. A few differences, but always run solid.
Which one runs better out of the 2, Wyatt, typically?
Just Fueling Around.
Okay.
The one that won the title.
They only took 1 to Shipshewana, didn't they?
Yeah, Still Fueling Around was the only one that was that ship.
Yep.
Okay. Awesome.
Yep.
So, time for us to break into the top 2 That's where I had Raging Buck. He was second in Midwest region, and he was third in the finals at Shipshewana, outlasting all the rest of them.
I think based on what you just said, I know everybody's number 2 and number 1s, but
I think I do too. Well, I don't know.
at number
The way you
2,
talked earlier,
I had to go Hoosier Hooker. PPL Midwest champ, winner at Shy Diesel Extravaganza. He did win the Midwest Winter Nationals. That certainly counts in the crossover department, having to go through the ladders and whatnot. But I just felt like there was one guy maybe better.
Don't hate it.
and I know which one it is because he's already on my list.
Yep.
Nice.
I went with Raging Buck at number 2 for all the reasons Shane said. Solid showing from what I've seen. He's won at Evansville during the year, and I kind of have to go off of videos for the Midwest region. He's does really well. You always see him on the highlight reel.
Charles, go ahead and get yours out of the way because I'm pretty 99% sure that Wyatt's not is the same.
Yeah. Endless, I put number 1. You guys covered it. Multiple championships across different series in the same year. Won the Enderley pull-off as well. Only finished 6th in his flight at Midwest. He was not happy about it. He's hoping for a little revenge on Saturday.
Yeah, and I think this is going to be a lot of the competitors' first time running on Murfreesboro, minus Mr. Bug with the horseplay. He's been there running the whatever you want to call it, pro farm, hot farm, whatever. He's ran there in the past in the 10,000 class. But Wyatt, our number 1, Hoosier Hooker. He was your Shipshewana champ and your Midwest region points champion. Thing just runs.
Yeah, if you don't take Shipshewana into consideration, what he's shown running PPL / IPL, it really impressed me. Even if he didn't win, he's right at the top, number 2, and just impressed me all for all the reasons.
I think this was their either third points title, I think, this year on the Midwest region side of things.
Could be.
Yeah.
If
Mr.
somebody's
Tom?
got like a historical of all the PPL from the top, like Champions Tour and some of the regions from the last 3 or 4 years, please get a hold of us. It would make this show immensely easier.
Yes. Especially for next week.
Yes.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
So-
Internet Archive does not have it. I've looked.
Have you really?
It has the versions of the PPL website, but the results pages and the points are not there.
I'll tell you what I've honestly been doing is going to the news tab because you have an ability to go over to 2022, and I've just kind of had to scroll for ages.
That and the Facebook page have been helpful, but not as helpful as
Mr. Lively, if you're watching, help, please.
I will. If you haven't, I will pay for it.
Yeah. Michael Peters, Hoosier Hooker, PPL champ 2015, 19, and 22. Wow. Mr. Tony, what you think?
Looks good. Yeah.
No need to watch. I'm going to send you an invite.
Michael Peters.
I like that Fred Geezer, that blue tractor you mentioned earlier. He's running awful good too.
Yeah.
Geisler.
Yep.
Yeah. He was a pro farm before, or an 85, wasn't he?
Possible.
Yeah,
I'm just getting to know
might have
him.
been an 85.
Yeah, because I could have swore last year because they run, I don't know what it's called at Murfreesboro, but they run the 85 limited pros there. And he was there last year. I could have swore with the 24 5s on. A couple of guys, I believe. Lance Mertens, yeah.
Yeah. Here's the honorable mentions. Didn't do so well this year, but I believe you're right, Colton. He's done very well at that event in past years. Yes. Been around it for he's what I think we were having that conversation during the event, that he was one of those guys who I don't think he's ever missed one. He's been at all.
Yeah.
Very impressive.
Was there a printout of the 2022 PPL results at the banquet? We have no idea.
Yeah, I wasn't there, so I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be an avenue to see if it was published there or not. Right.
Yeah. Again, Mr. Lively, if you're watching,
I'll get a hold of him and see if he's got something he can help us out with there on that.
Yep.
Between him and Clint, I'm sure we could get it.
yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. Did Clint ever text you, by the way?
No, which tells me he's probably not watching.
Got it.
I think for this class, something I like about it so much, besides the sensibility of the engine and turbo rules, I'll be honest with you, that I really like is that it's not another 24.5 tire class. And I really, really hope that this class and you guys will stay on those 20.8s. There's a point at which things become a little bit self-governing in tractor pulling where you can only push the horsepower so far if you can't put it to the ground. Not that stops mini rods or unlimiteds from trying as well. But I think it helps, and I think you tell me if it's a testament also to reliability that guys like the Bombers can go out 45 times in a year without having the major breakage as well.
Yeah.
This class is well thought out, I think.
Very well.
And it's really exploded over the last 5 years?
Yeah. I'm not saying for Region 2, PPL already had us, okay? And I don't run a whole lot of PPL. Of course, my tractor wasn't doing very good. But Hoosier State level, when we promoted that tractor pull, Larry Richline told us if we get 10 guys to commit, this was in 2017, if we get 10 guys to commit, that he would honor our class as a provisional and put us into region to see if it takes off. And it definitely took off.
Yeah.
But we had the first, I had to really buck them because I'm on the committee and they didn't want it. They didn't want to have that class. And I said, I'll put the money up for the class to get this thing going I'm talking on the Hoosier State side. And then they said, we'll take, if you get 10 of us, and Darren Bomer was a big part of it, obviously. And Brian and Carrington, them guys, we all got together and committed 10 of us. And that's the reason it pushed on up into the Region 2.
I'm glad it did.
Yep.
Me too.
Yeah, we got.
Seems to be a little bit of a mainstay.
I think there's about 10 hooks this year for us, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but I think it's around 10. I know there's like 3 or 4 in Michigan, and 3 or 4 in Ohio, and a couple here in Indiana, of course.
Yeah, Mr. Tony, where's your plans for the summer? Where are you planning on riding the most?
I'm gonna hit the Region 2. I'm gonna
Region 2.
Yeah, I'm gonna commit to that. And with my farm repair business, I'm just a one-man operation, so my customer work's got to come first, and take care of the tractors. And right now I'm technically 2 years behind on working on tractors. So I'm behind pretty bad right now. So I got to get caught. And some of them is my own stuff that I'm gonna fix up and resell. So this market right now is crazy on tractors. We got guys buying tractors up, and so I'm hoping to get Region 2. And I'll hit some PPL, and I'll try to hit some IPL if I can.
Yeah,
I like him guys. I like him guys. I'm sorry.
I figured you'd run IPL quite a bit.
Yeah. I like him guys too. Like I say, we're southeast of Indianapolis, about 50 miles is where we're at. So I ain't so sure. See, my other shop, which is on my fiance's property, she's down in Frankfort, Kentucky. And it'd be real easy to park the tractor down there and run east to west in Kentucky and run the Battle of Bluegrass too.
True that.
But I'm an NTPA dedicated, NTPA and Region 2. So that's what I'm gonna focus on and see how that goes.
Yeah. Can we talk a little bit about the paint job on your tractor? Is it hand painted, or how was all that done? Was it?
Okay. I hope, everybody knows the movie 50 Shades of Grey. That movie that was out. And So I came up with the idea of 50. Of course, my color is red, and I don't know if you all can see my back here on my accent wall in the kitchen, but that is actually 2150, a gallon of 2150 red. That's an accent wall in my kitchen, and that's right out of the paint can, right off the shelf of enamel red. So,
Wow.
but 50 Shades of Red. I talked to my it's a graphic imaging that he done, and I asked him if there was actually 50 shades of red in the color, in the color of red, and he pulled down a color chart, and there was definitely 50 shades of red.
Yeah.
And see, even black is a shade of red. It takes black to make red. So every state on there is a different shade of red. And then of course
Cool.
I got the white star there on the state of Indiana where we live. And so that's what I come up with, and we liked it, and it stuck, and that's what we come up with.
Absolutely gorgeous. I think we have a tractor called 50 Shades of Green down here that runs limited pro, but it does not have the paint job of yours. That is a fact.
Yep.
Well,
like I say, that tractor was the one that I had purchased off of Adam Cam. He's down by New Albany. And Adam, I worked on that just a little bit, helped Adam just a little bit. And then he come to me and asked me if I just want to buy it. And so we worked out a deal between us, and it worked good for both of us, and I got it bought. And that's where that tractor actually come from. So I built one, and now I bought this one. So like I say, the other one is going back together, and we're hopefully get it out this year too. And that tractor, when I had it, was called Torque, T-O-R-K, Torque. That's my nickname. Yeah.
really awesome.
Is Adam Cam still doing any fabricating work? Because I know over the years he's turned out some really pretty stuff.
Yes, he is a perfectionist and one of the best. And he builds a lot of these antique pulling guys, what I call the antique pulling guys. He'll build them front ends. Everything's just picture perfect. He does great work. Great guy.
He had a case years ago. I think it was called, if I remember right, the Flambeau Bullet. I was in love with that thing.
I don't know. I don't want to say too much because I don't know, exactly how it is. But the case is coming back alive.
Cool.
Yeah, but I don't know the name. I don't know the name of it, and I know he's. I'm not so sure it wasn't out already once, but I know that it's coming back.
That's cool.
See, that's another.
That makes me happy. Makes me real happy.
Throw in the mix.
Yeah.
Throw another one there.
So, yeah, great guy.
Yeah. Don't forget, pullers that are pulling at the National Farm Machinery Show. This announcement is coming. The Pullers Happy Hour will be, I think, Thursday, sometime there. And while that announcement's been dropped, the ranking show has their own announcement to come next week after we get done ranking Pro Stocks. It is something we have talked about, and we're really excited to do. I talked it over with Jason over dinner last night. They stopped on the way through to Florida, asked me if I wanted to come meet. I said sure, so we talked about it and got their green light to go. But we have our own little announcement coming for Farm Show. I think everyone's going to like it. It'll be something different. I don't think it's ever been done to the degree we're going to do it, but we will see. And with that being said, Mr. Tony, we really appreciate your time coming on and joining us. It was a great time to get to hear some of your stories and drop some of your knowledge on us. And glad to know that our lists weren't too far out of reach, it appears. So thank you for that. And we will do Pro Stocks next week, and we will drop our own announcement for Farm Show. So until then, we will see everybody later.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, sir.
Take care.
Bye, everyone.
Good luck in school.
Thanks.